We are live, I think. Okay, so looks like no one's watching just yet, but for those who are watching the recording, when it happens, I'm Holly Worton, here with Cathy Ballard, or the other way. And we are experimenting for the first time with the Be Live software thing. So we are here to talk about the power of silent retreats, because we just did one last weekend. So welcome, Cathy.
Hi, Holly. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
So let's talk about, first of all, like why this happened. Why did we decide to do the seemingly awkward thing of renting an Airbnb in the middle of nowhere and spending a silent weekend together?
And yeah, spend the weekend together and not talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really funny, actually, when we were talking about this earlier, because we had different reasons to do it. So I used to run silent retreats in New Zealand. I used to run a retreat centre out there, and this was my thing. I ran it every month. And I know how powerful it is, and I know how exciting it is and how much you can get out of it. And I really wanted to do it here as well. Obviously, I didn't have a retreat centre that I lived at, so I just never had done. And so I think we were talking about it, and you'd heard a friend, hadn't you?
Yeah, I had a friend that had a very different experience. She went to this Catholic monastery in Argentina years ago, and we were both living there. And she did this silent retreat with these silent monks. And I really liked the sound of that, because that's not a religion that I have any experience with. And so it's not something that would be conflictive in any way to me, because I've never grown up in that. So it would be like something different. And it was like optional. You could attend their services or not. The whole thing was just go there and be silent, and they would feed you. And it just sounded really, really nice. And so I started looking for something like that. But everything I found was a very specific came with specific kinds of meditations or stuff that I really didn't care about. Like, I just wanted to go somewhere and be silent and journal and just do the inner work. And so since I couldn't find anything like that, and it kept coming up as a conversation between the two of us, we decided to do it.
Yeah. So we got onto Airbnb, and we spent a few hours looking for a property where we wouldn't be disturbed, that had enough space, that had big gardens or space outside, and that it was somewhere out in the country. And we found a couple of places, didn't we? And this was one that we ended up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too far away.
Exactly. And it ended up being better than we even thought, because it didn't have Wi-Fi. So we were totally cut off from the world. And I think at one point before I turned my phone off, I checked, and it had like 1 bar of 3G signal. I don't even think it had 4G. So it really was fairly remote, but yet easily accessible. And the house was a 4-bedroom house. So it was much bigger than we needed, had a great kitchen, had a nice garden, and it was surrounded by farms. So you could go kind of walking in the fields. And
nobody to sort of see us, totally private, because that was really...
Yeah. It felt very, very private, but yet easily accessible. So I think one of the first questions that a lot of people have is, what do we do there? So how do we structure it?
So, well, using the structure that I used to run it by, we had, so we started on Friday, because you'd not done it before. We needed some kind of understanding of what would, hi Carol, we needed some kind of structure. And Friday night was like an orientation evening. So it was about deciding, because we also both wanted to facilitate this to give each other the experience and have the idea of how we could do this for other people potentially. So it was about working out through that weekend what bits were silent, what bits were guided, where the meal times were, what was journaling time, and other different activities that would fit in, so that everybody knew, or we knew, where we were at different times. And we had little timers go off at different times, didn't we? So there was no eye contact, there was no communication other than logistical things, like where we would write a note for each other.
In case of emergency. So we weren't, it wasn't like we were having like lengthy conversations by letter. We were just kind of, if something like an emergency came up or something weird happened, which a couple of things did happen, we just wrote things down, change of schedule, that kind of thing. And I think that was, I think the no eye contact was a big relief for me, because at first, since I'd never experienced this before, I didn't know, just thought it'd be weird for the two of us to be in this house in the middle of nowhere, like not speaking to each other. But it wasn't, because since we weren't making eye contact, we were like kind of in our own little world, but yet kind of all both navigating within the same space. So it felt really natural once we stepped into it.
I think the other interesting thing is that although you're not making eye contact, you actually don't feel alone, because energetically you're in each other's space, aren't you? So it feels really safe.
Yeah, it did. It was a completely different experience from anything I've ever done before, but it felt really natural. So since we've got a couple of people listening, I just want to say, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the question box and we'll answer them as we're going. Yeah, but it just felt really comfortable. Like there was nothing awkward about it. It was just different.
Yeah, it's great.
So what was kind of the structure? So what can we share with people? We started out every morning with, we did some heart-centered energy work on the heart center. And then we did a 1 hour of meditation, silent.
Yeah. And then a little bit of free time until we had breakfast. Mm-hmm. And then we had a guided meditation we did some art journaling, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And then there was lunch, and then there would have been a guided meditation in the afternoon.
Yep.
Followed by a period where we were doing conscious walking. Mm. And then there would have been more free time, then dinner, and then there was a guided meditation in the evening. Mm-hmm. And then
free time.
Well, then to bed, wasn't it? Because
yeah.
Exhausted. And then in the morning, on Sunday morning, it was the same thing. Started with heart-centered energy work, guided by you, and then completed the rest of that hour in silence in meditation. Followed by, I can't remember what was. We were debriefing. I think we were doing after that.
Yeah. So no, then we had breakfast, and then after breakfast we came out of silence and then did kind of the closing circle. Yeah. So yeah, Car's got a really good question. Who led the guided meditation? Did you use recordings? That's a very good question. And it was a bit weird because it was just the two of us. So it was like either one or the other of us led the guided meditations. And so I think that when we do this with other people and the two of us are facilitating, it will kind of make more sense that one of us is briefly talking. But the first time I had to lead a guided meditation, I just felt like it was wrong. Like I just sat there and I was like, I have to open my mouth and I have to make words come out, but I don't know if I want to do that. So yeah, that was a bit, it was interesting because it made me so much more conscious of speaking. Yeah,
I think because it just felt like going back to doing, what I used to do.
For you, it was normal.
I knew what to expect, so that was really nice. But being able to be the participant and receive a guided meditation, and whilst in that space, was just so delightful. And it
was good. So as a result of being in silence and as a result of doing all this work and the guided meditations and playing with oracle cards, a lot of the mind crap came up for us.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because as soon as you've made that space, everything just jumps in. So when you're not distracted, I think we were talking about this earlier, weren't we? That in your normal life, you're distracted by the TV and the radio and the kids and the dog and every other thing that's going on in your life. And there isn't, you're not aware of it, but all of those distractions disconnect you from yourself. Yeah. And because your focus is in the external world. So coming into this container instantly means there's a big void there. There's no distraction. And so everything that those distractions had pushed down, it's like having a lid on something. The lid's off. And so if there's anything that you'd been avoiding, or anything that was close to the surface, or that you set a strong intention for, because we started the whole weekend with setting strong intentions, didn't we? Everything that's not in alignment with that comes to the surface for you to see. And of course that doesn't feel that comfortable for a lot of the time.
But because we were doing so much journaling and so much playing with the oracle cards, it helped to get clarity on the stuff that was coming up, and then eventually to process it by doing the kind of meditation and the work. But
and I think it's like once you see it and you realize, oh gosh, this plays out in my life everywhere, because like how you do one thing is how you do everything. So once you've seen it and you can be with it, then it lifts off and leaves your energy field, doesn't it? So you feel lighter, clearer.
Yes.
And all of those thoughts that have been cluttering your head up, they're gone. So there's so much more space, and new awareness and insight then can drop in or bubble up, whichever.
Yes. So much came up. So what did we get out of it? I think it's important for us to share the specific stuff. So for me, one of the big things, it was, I'm not good enough. And the whole I'm not good enough belief came up in so many ridiculous ways. Stuff like, and I wrote a blog post about this, stuff about, since we both brought food to share, stuff about my celery not being good enough, the cake that I bought not being good enough, my salads not being good enough. And that's just a silly example of how this comes up in the rest of my life. It comes up in my business. It comes up in my personal life. Like, I have lots of fears and beliefs about not being good enough, even though I've done a lot of work on this. But doing the silent retreat kind of brought it up to the surface as a way of showing me, you've still got more to do on this.
Mine that came up most strongly was, I don't receive fully.
Yeah.
So, and it was when you were serving lunch and I couldn't say thank you for it. And I was left with this feeling of, I was really aware that normally I would back that off with a thank you. So I wouldn't like fully take it in and go and really appreciate it and savor the beautiful gift of love, which is what, you can look at any gift to you, you could read it as love. And I realized how shallowly I received in my life. And I think having that weekend in the silence, it made everything slow down. I became so much more aware of learning to receive, even particularly doing the conscious walking, feeling my feet and the textures of the grass and like the prickles that were even there, it's just like receiving everything that came and as a sensation and filling up with all of it. And I think since I've been back, I've been feeling so much more full, so much more abundant, and things are actually, I'm getting client calls coming in for discovery calls for new clients, and something has shifted in me in quite a big way because I opened the door up to actually receive more. And what stood in the way of it, I think, was not good enough, but I'm not worthy of receiving.
Yeah.
So it's like, who am I to get this without saying thank you back? How I just got to sit here and receive. Oh my God, that felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah. And since you did breakfast, that came up to me as well. So on the first breakfast, Saturday morning, I remember you putting that plate of this beautiful breakfast in front of me, and I just went, what do I do? Do I nod? Do I bow? I can't say anything. So I have to do something, but I didn't because I couldn't, because it was about not. And that was just so difficult.
Yeah. It was quite alarming how hard it was to be with that. So where else in our lives are we not allowing things to fully come into us and really believe that we're worthy of receiving for not doing anything.
Yeah. And then Monday, after we came back, a situation popped up for me where someone offered me help, and I didn't accept it right away. And then the person kind of insisted. And so then I finally stepped in and allowed myself to receive. But it was like it showed up again just to remind me, you haven't finished this lesson yet.
No, I definitely haven't finished it yet.
Yeah. No, I think this is something we're both still working on. So Cora says, how would I know if this is something I need?
So, well, I think everyone needs it.
Yeah.
Because it's just about you connecting with you. It's about getting out of all of the head stuff and finding your truth. So it's going to be really beneficial to anybody who finds this a little bit interesting, if they're excited about going into silence.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Because it's not about anybody else telling you how to be or what you need to learn, because everything is in you, and that's what you will find.
Yeah.
So that's quite so important. And if you're setting a clear intention at the beginning of the weekend, you'll find that everything in the way of that is what will come up. So you'll leave so much clearer. So you're setting your own course, really.
Yeah. I think anyone that's into personal development and learning and growth and really connecting with yourself, a silent retreat is such a great way of kind of taking that up a new level, because it really forces you to focus on yourself and your own kind of inner world and just observe the stuff that comes up.
I think anybody who is someone that just gives all the time, it's totally your time to receive.
Yeah.
Because it's so nurturing and nourishing, and you'll leave just feeling so much more filled up.
Yeah. I mean, we ate delicious food, we relaxed, we slept so well. So it was like, in addition to doing the inner work, we were also getting a lot of really deep rest. I mean, I slept so well both nights.
So it's very, very much about self-love and
self-care.
Taking care of yourself, definitely.
And I think a lot of people will recognize that they don't do that as much as they like. So if you feel like you're also in need of some deep self-care, this is also a great way to get it while doing the inner work at the same time.
If you've got any kind of if there's something that you're procrastinating with, where you're confused about anything in life, where you feel stuck, where you just feel blocked, doing silent retreat will bring all of the options up. And because you're not, you don't have to make a quick choice about something. You can feel into things, and you'll feel which one feels light or which one feels more exciting. Then you can declutter all the rest, and then you know exactly what's next steps to take in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've touched on some of these things about why silence is so powerful. But just to kind of quickly recap, it really helps you go deep because you have no distractions. You know, we turned our phones off. We didn't allow books. It was just nothing to do but focus on your stuff.
I think it brings up all of the things that are hidden, all of the judgments that you've got that would normally keep you quite stuck in your thinking. It allows you to see them so you can choose a different way. It's very freeing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And a lot of it's about awareness. So when you're aware, then you can make new choices.
Exactly. And I think another thing that's really important to mention is that it's all about giving yourself permission to focus on you and just you for an entire weekend, which how often do we do that?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, even if you live alone, there's other stuff going on. It's business stuff you could do. If you have pets, you take care of your pets, it's just you focusing on you for a weekend. And I think that's really powerful, to give yourself permission to put yourself first. Yeah,
totally. Just have it's a container created to bring stuff up to be cleared. And there's so many touch points where you're doing energy work to clear it, so it's like you let it all go by the time you leave. Yeah. So really powerful.
Yeah, I loved it. So as a result of having so much fun on the silent retreat, we've decided we want to invite other people along with us the next time we do this. So we're planning sometime later this year, we're thinking maybe September, to take a very small group of women on a similar experience. We're really excited about this. So the idea is 2 nights, £495, more or less. We still need to kind of find the final location and figure out the cost, but that's about what we're looking at. Just 5 participants plus the 2 of us, so it's a really small group. All your meals are included. We'll be doing the cooking. Lots of plant-based foods and fish. You get your own room, so you've got that silent space where you can shut yourself off from the rest of the group if you need to. And then the idea is to have activities such as we did when it was just the 2 of us, but they're optional. So you can join them or you can not join them. Hi, Popsy. Depending on what you feel like doing. So if you feel like joining the group activity, do it. If not, you can do your own thing, and you can go off on your own and be alone in your room, outdoors, whatever, do your own thing outside, like whatever is right for you.
I think that's really important, because it's, obviously you can't talk to explain what's going on, but it's having a little bit of control for yourself as well. And if you're right in the middle of a process and you're getting lots of stuff coming up and it feels good to be getting that out, you don't want to distract yourself from it to go off just to join an activity. So it's your weekend to really allow it to unfold as you need it to. Yeah. Really, I'm so excited to do it again. I can't wait.
Yes, it's going to be fun. So if anyone feels like this is something that you might be interested in, let us know. Holly at hollywworton.com or Cathy at cathyballard.com. Those are also our websites, so you can get in touch there. I did a blog post about some of the things that I've talked about today, some of what came up for me. Cathy recently did a Facebook Live, which is on your Facebook page, right? Yeah, about receiving and the stuff that came up for you. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. Just pop your questions into the comment box. We're happy to stay on for a few more minutes and answer any questions. But it was a deeply relaxing and transformational experience for me. So it was like we did a lot of work, and on the second night, I was really exhausted. I mean, I think I went to bed at 10, but for the last half hour before that, I was just lying on the couch staring at the wall because it was like I think I was processing all the stuff that was coming up.
I think that's really interesting. A really good point as well, because doing this kind of work, it is tiring. Normally, in fact, we normally use quite a lot of energy to keep things pushed down, and that, it's like keeping a cork pushed down underwater. And when you take the cork, you let your hands off the cork, it's like your muscles are tired, aren't they? Because you've been using so much pressure to keep it down. So all of this stuff that's come up, you do feel really tired, but in a good way.
Yeah, it was good. And we slept so well both nights. It was like, I think we really took advantage of the nighttime to just deeply repair all the stuff that was coming up.
I've had so much energy since I got back from it as well. And things have been absolutely flying. So it's been amazing.
Yeah. We talk about doing work, but it was we did the meditations, we did the energy work, we did the oracle cards, but it wasn't like we were working the whole time. It was deep inner work, but at the same time, we had so much time to process in between the activities. Popsy says, I just tuned in, so we'll definitely have questions once you watch from the beginning. Great. Just let us know if you have any questions once you watch the whole thing. So it was work, but lots of relaxation at the same time and space to process the stuff that was coming up. So I think it was a really good balance of the two.
I think it would be really useful to know if anybody who catches the recording or who's on, if they've got any concerns that we haven't kind of covered, like what I can't even think of what might be some concerns people have, because I loved it so much. So I'm really used to going into the silence, so it doesn't bother me. But you know, if there's anything that you would like to know that would help you make that decision to move into silence so that you could benefit yourself, then do ask us a question.
Yeah, and I think also the power of this was having a dedicated space to do it. Because, so for example, you know that every other month I go to Glastonbury and I go alone, and I spend a lot of time at the Chalicewell Gardens and the White Spring and the Goddess Temple, and I'm in silence for a lot of that, except when I have to engage with other people for meals and things. And I do a lot of journaling and I do a lot of inner work, and it is really powerful and it is really useful, but having that dedicated space on the silent retreat really took it to a whole new level. So I feel like this isn't maybe the thing that you can do on your own. Like, I feel like you need someone holding the space for you to help guide you through the process. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think also because of, you know, we were facilitating for each other. So we were doing it, holding each other, channeling energy, and we created that space. And that's what's really lovely to be able to create for other people, because they're coming into that. And it's like we're adding our energy to their process as you were adding it to mine. And it allows things to be released a lot faster. It's a powerful place to go into, isn't it? Yeah. Very exciting.
Yeah. Good. All right. So if no one has any other questions, is there anything else that you'd like to share, Cathy, before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I mean, other than I just totally recommend it. And even if you just think, oh, I'll just go and do that once just to see what it's like, you know, I would totally recommend it.
Worst case scenario, it's going to be really relaxing. Best case scenario, it's going to shift a whole bunch of stuff for you.
And it's also, you know, it's you don't need to wear makeup. You don't need to wear anything. You don't need to like show up really smart. It's about being really relaxed and just showing up as you and being within yourself. And how special that is, because everybody's so powerful, and you'll meet your power.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I'm looking forward to when we do it with a bigger group is having the energy of more people in there to be kind of working together in this soup of transformation.
It was interesting though. I remember some of my past clients who came on our retreats, although they obviously didn't know each other, a lot of them, but they were in each other's space, in a group space, not talking, not looking at each other. But by the end of the weekend, when we came out of the silence, they were saying how much they felt they knew each other and how connected they felt because they'd shared this space together. So it's not an awkward, weird thing after a little while.
Yeah, excellent. So I guess we can wrap it up now. And if anyone has any questions, people who are listening now, pop them into the box. If you're listening to the recording, just feel free to get in touch. Again, Cathy at cathyballard.com, Holly at hollyworton.com, and we'll answer your questions. So thank you very much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to talk to you about our experience, which is still fresh in our minds since it was just last weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening, and hope to hear from you again.
Yeah, right. Bye.
Bye.